Welcome back to my channel, Shayna Creates. Today we are talking about why you won't win in 2026 without this one thing. Now, what is this exactly? Well, I got a brief guessing game for here, but before we get into answering that question, I want to welcome you back. This content is for any of my creators and entrepreneurs. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and share this with creatives and entrepreneurs like yourself. All right, let's get into this conversation because I need you to have all of the tools that you need to succeed in 2026. And you absolutely will not win this year without this one thing. If you are a creative, or a small business owner or entrepreneur, whether you're aspiring or you're in your early growth stages of starting already. Maybe you're in your mid-sized stages as well. That counts too. If you're not producing this one thing, you won't win. And if you've been to my channel before, welcome back. You already know what the answer is to this because I do these webinars every week and we talk about the same thing. But for those of us who are unsure, anybody want to take a wild guess? Content. You absolutely will not win in 2026 without content. You will not be as successful as you want to be. You will absolutely be leaving money on the table without producing content, right? And so during this conversation, because this is obvious for some of you, especially if you've been following my webinars all of 2025, you know that I keep talking to you guys about content, produce content at least once a week. And so, yeah. Shay, you've been repeating this and saying this over and over again, but I want to bring back a previous conversation that we had before because when you hear content, you might be thinking about this style in which we're having this conversation right now, like YouTube content, which is absolutely what I would recommend for every single entrepreneur and creative. However, if that's not your style or you're not there just yet, it's all good. There's actually different types of content that you can produce in 2026 and make your business the most successful it's been yet. Okay. So now that we know the what, we're going to move into the why. Why is it important to create content? And don't worry, I'm going to come back to those various styles that I just mentioned when we come to the how. But we have to make sure that we hit this why first. So now that we have this, I'm going to ask you to grab your notebook. And I'm going to ask you to grab a pen. And I'm going to ask you to leave notes down in the comment section of what you're taking away from this conversation today. So one piece of content that I did a while back that has been very successful is just this. It's a conversation that I've had with Myron Golden from his Boss Moves book. Myron has helped me to make additional money in my business during year 2025. So I am literally studying this book. This is not just a read. This is a study. It's a less than 200-page paperback book of success principles from $1 Million Roundtable. Myron is a multi-millionaire and he's dropping gems for us for just $30. It's absolutely amazing book. Not just because it's a good read, it's because of all of the principles and the value that he's packed inside of this book, which is about the conversation we're having today. So, by the way, link to that book is down in my description box. Go ahead and click on that link. Purchase your copy today. Let's make this bigger, actually. That's a tiny house. All right, so I'm going to draw something out for y'all because I'm a visual learner. Maybe some of you are visual learners too. But I want to make this as clear as possible for you as Myron did for us. So, here's our house. I want you to think of your house. Whether you have one now or not, so good. We're going to think of this house as our life, okay? As our current life. So, here we go. There's 4 windows in our house. Most of us have a regular income, and we get that from our jobs. Then we have what's called wealth reducing liabilities. I'll get into that in a moment. we have what's called an IPA, which is an acronym for income producing asset. And we're going to put a little star here because this one is important, okay? This is with regard to the conversation that we're having today. And this one is OG. That's for outgoing, okay? So here is our financial life, y'all. Most of us have a job which provides us our income on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, or maybe on a monthly basis for some, or it depends on how you work. Maybe you have retainer style or you work by contract. It's all good. What's up, y'all? I appreciate y'all joining. Hey, I appreciate y'all for joining the chat. Please, whatever questions you have, make sure you ask now that you're joining me live as well. We're talking about why content is really important for you to succeed in 2026. You won't win without it, right? So in terms of content and our financial life as we know it right now, most of us have a job that provides us our income. And mentally, we believe that this also provides us some level of security, which if that's what you believe, then it has to be true, right? But who's to say that you can't have more than this level of security? Let's up your security. Imagine that you are literally owning a large business, a brick and mortar. If you can have one security guard or two, what would you prefer? If you have multi-levels in your business, what would you prefer? You would prefer more than one security guard, right? So why not have more than one security guard? There's nothing that says that we can't have more than one. So it's all good. If you have a job, that's fine. But usually when you have a job, you have a few things happening. Most of your money is going towards somewhere already because most of us also have bills, right? Most of us have bills. So usually when we get our check, most of that money goes towards bill, whether it's your light bill, your electricity bill, your rent, your mortgage, your property state taxes, your phone, your Metro card, your gas, whatever, right? So we got bills, y'all. So most of this income already is going out of this window. It just came in through the window. It's already going out. The next space is going to go is into our wealth reducing liabilities. What's wealth reducing liabilities? For the time interest, we're just going to go ahead and call this debt. We're not going to get into this right now. Maybe I'll do that in some other content if you're interested. But I got this from Myron Golden, the man himself. So feel free to watch this, okay? So our wealth reducing liabilities is equivalent to our debt. If you have a credit card or if you have a loan, you know what debt is, okay? You borrow money, and if you're anything like the younger version of me, you're buying things on credit that you actually cannot afford. And that is not the way to use credit. Credit has its purpose. Credit has a specific way to utilize it. And if you do it right, you actually can have a really great income because we're supposed to leverage debt. We're supposed to leverage our credit. But many people, a majority of people, especially in this country, America, hence why we have a lot of debt in this country, is that we are overspending. We are using credit to purchase things that we actually cannot afford. And so when we go to pay it back, we can't pay it back. And we just increase our debt instead of reducing it. So that debt, this window actually already goes into this OG, that outgoing window as well, okay? So our income is already going to bills, is already going to those loans or that credit debt that we have. And then this window, y'all, many times, including myself, I had to learn this in order to change this in my life, is that this window is empty. IPA stands for income producing assets. What is income producing assets? It is exactly as it sounds. It is assets that produce income. How many of us have income producing assets currently? An asset actually appreciates over time, right? So when you have a house, it might depreciate if you don't take care of it or if you don't renovate it, right? But if you renovate it, what happens? It goes up, right? It's able to appreciate. If you're investing, if you know anything about investing, what happens when you invest your money over time? It compounds, it appreciates, right? Well, what about content as your IPA? Do you have any content as your IPA, because typically, even when you invest money, like maybe in the stock market, right? It goes into multiple spaces, it goes into multiple baskets, right? So you don't even invest into one type of fund, you invest into multiple kinds of funds because you want to have the best outcome for returns that compounds on your initial investment. And so why wouldn't you have multiple types of assets that's going to produce you and your business more income? If you don't right now, that's all good. That's why we're having this conversation. But I want to let you know that content is one way, one simple way at that, to turn into an asset that produces you passive income without you doing a lot of work a lot of times, which is different than having a job. Even if you have a job right now that's paying you really well, you have to realize that you are in a position that can only pay you a certain amount of money. There is a ceiling, there's a cap. When you have assets, it continues to appreciate and compound over time. There's no ceiling and there's no cap, right? So remember, we want to have multiple bounces for this house. We want to have multiple securities, not just one. So here is why income producing assets is so important. I'm going to read you this right out of Myron's book, and he jumps right into this. We didn't even get into page 1 yet. This is great. Okay, Myron said this, and this is so important. Listen up. We are paid for the level of value that we bring into the world. The level of value is what matters, not how hard we work to create the value, not even what value we bring into the world, but for the level of value that we bring. So remember what I just said about this job, right? If you have a job right now and if you feel underappreciated or not valued at your job, is actually not because of your manager, is not because the bosses don't care about you. It's actually because there is only a certain amount of value that you can bring to that position anyway. It doesn't matter who's in that position. The position that you're in has a cap. What's up, y'all? I see y'all saying hi and just giving you a hi back. I appreciate y'all being here with me, okay? It doesn't matter who is in that position. No matter what, that position has a cap, a salary cap. There's only but so much can get paid in that position. So what's the next step? Is to get promoted, right? Or it's to work at another space that maybe pays a little bit more, but it's still a higher level, right? It's a step up a notch. No matter what, y'all, you could jump from job to job. Each position is going to have a certain value that is going to give back to you. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many times you showed up for work. It doesn't matter if you skip out on your PTO. It doesn't matter if you go to work while you're sick. It doesn't matter, okay? You can only bring the level of value to that position that position offers you. That's it. And so this is why it's important to note that we need to create income producing assets because we are paid for the level of value that we bring into the world. Why in the world will we stop at just a job when we can bring levels of value into the world, the entire world? People have problems every day, B, and they trying to pay us for it. They're trying to pay us for the solutions. So me as a coach, I coach multiple things. I coach on content, but I'm also a fitness coach, right? People will pay me all kinds of money to help them achieve a certain look or to feel a certain way because that is the value that I bring to them. They have a problem, I give them the solution, they pay me for that solution. That is how everything that has been made is made and created, right? Someone makes something, you make the purchase. Sometimes it's not even because you need it, it's just because you want it, all right? So it's important to remember that note that I just gave you. Now, let's come back to why content is going to be the best way to create passive income for yourself or for your business especially if you're busy, okay? Now, if you lazy, that's one thing. We're going to have another kind of conversation if you're just lazy, okay? If you're busy, I'm telling you, you only need 1 day a week to focus on your content. So now we're going to get into the how. What kind of content? Make sure you take these notes because I got to erase this now. Bah. Now we're going to talk about the how for content. Because when you hear me say content, what's the first thing that you think about? The style. And this style of conversation right now is one type of content, right? And that's visual. This style of content right here is visual, right? You're watching me on YouTube and we're having a conversation about how to win in 2026. Now, typically, when someone hears content, they're thinking about Instagram, they're thinking about TikTok, they're thinking about YouTube, they're thinking about X, right? And that is one style of content, but it's not the only style. So if you are not creating content and you know that you need to, you know that you should be, or you want to, but maybe you're shy of the camera, maybe you don't know which direction to go in terms of editing skills or lighting or camera, or I don't know, it's just you're stuck, right? You know this is something that you should be doing, but you're not doing it yet. Well, what's really cool is that visual is not the only way. There are actually 3 other ways to produce content. Visual is one, which I highly recommend. And I highly recommend that you create visual content on YouTube. Why? Because YouTube, aside from the longevity that it's had amongst all other social media platforms and the projection that it has going into the future, aside from that, YouTube is going to pay you for your content. And they're going to pay you buttloads of money on top of that. That is the passive income that goes into your business. Content. As IPA, aside from visual content, you also have, if you're shy on camera, if you don't know where to start or how to start, why don't you start with a book or a template or a kit that says written? I probably shouldn't use green. I don't know if you could see that. Okay. We have visual, but we also have written. So Myron has taught me something else. Still out of the same book, y'all. I was absolutely amazed by this piece of content that Myron said, okay? So Myron started out as a trash man, and he was only making $6.25, y'all. This was back in what, the 1970s, the 1980s, okay? That's definitely not sustainable income, like right now, right? However, this was a thing. It doesn't even matter if it's sustainable or not. This is a thing. This is still a thing in some spaces, right? $6.25, no matter how hard he worked on his job. Mind you, a trash man. He worked for sanitation, okay? He went from working for sanitation for $6.25 an hour to sometimes on some days making 6 to 7 figures a day. And not for 8 hours either. Okay? Myron makes anywhere north of $50,000, sometimes into 6 digits, from writing this book. Mind you, he has 2 books. One of the books, The Trash Man to the Cash Man, is his first book. This is the second. Boss Moves book. This is a $30 book. $30, less than 200-page paperback that Myron took the time to write and produce. And mind you, this book is such an easy read. Like, it doesn't even take up, like, it's not wordy at all. There's illustrations and there's so much space here. Like, it's so easy, right? And obviously we have tools at our disposal now, tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini, right? We have writing tools at our disposal to help us to craft these books. And you might be thinking now, like, well, what am I going to write about? What you know about. Write about what you know about, but that you know it will solve somebody's problems, right? So if you know how to fix a flat tire, there is some people out there in the world who are not going to watch a video and that they're going to read about it instead. Just saying. if you know how to drop 20 pounds fast because you've done it, not even because you're a fitness trainer like I am, just because you've done it, you could write what you know about it and you could help other people lose 20 pounds fast. Yeah, I'm highly encouraging that. I'm highly encouraging that whatever you absolutely know about, your passion, your skills, or whatever it is right now that you're selling in your business, that you put it in writing and that you sell it. So I have authored one ebook so far, and I'm working on my second one. But that first ebook, y'all, I attached that link everywhere. It's on Amazon. 101 Ways to Lose Belly Fat Fast, a fun guide A to Z is how you read it. That book actually provided sales for me. What's up, Melanie? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so that book has actually provided me sales, and that's without me having to push it multiple times. Like, I set up my marketing strategy for that, and then I left it. I moved on to the next thing. But I wrote that book once, and it's made me sales multiple times. Why? Because it's an income producing asset. Books are assets. So what you know about, what you're experienced in, the skill sets that you have, or testimonials that you have, put it in a book. If you love to travel and you've been to multiple places, sure, record it as content and post it, but also put it in a book. What are my traveling needs to travel to Brazil or to Costa Rica? What do I need to know about staying 1 week, 2 weeks in Jamaica? What do I need to know? What places do I need to visit when I go to New York, right? I live in New York. I probably should. You know what's the problem with some things like that? Like, when you live in a space, you don't do everything, so you don't even know what to tell people. That's funny. But whatever you know, and that will help people. Because Myron said in the book, right, is that we are paid for the level of value that we give to the world. So you want to put the value that you already have, your experience, your skills, your passions that will help people, into a written piece of content. I encourage you to do this even if you're already doing visual content, right? I encourage you to do all four. Here goes the next one. Okay, so if you're not doing visual or written because that's not your style, you also have auditory. Y'all, open up the sounds or the voice notes on your phone and record what you know instead. You can still use a writing tool like Perplexity or ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, any one of them, doesn't matter. You can still use one of those writing tools to help you write a script. You get to talk into that thing like you're talking to a friend, or like we're having a conversation right now, and it'll give it back to you in a professional way, in the tone that you request, and then all you have to do is read it. Now you don't have to be on screen. Now you don't have to take time to write it yourself. All you have to do is open up your notes app. So I do this as a fitness trainer. I offer overall fitness, right? So I help people get achieve their dream bodies physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. All of it, right? Mentally. So for mental, I actually speak into my voice notes, and then I give my clients the voice notes, right? And not just my clients. Now I have it. That is property. So this is another thing that I'm gonna go ahead and write this now, because I honestly should have told you this before. Content is your intellectual property. I don't want to forget about it. We're gonna talk about it, right? So auditory is still your IP, your intellectual property. So now you have it in sound. Now you can deliver in like a true podcast style, a conversation that you want to have. Again, it could be conversational. Maybe it's something that's entertaining. You need to really understand like your delivery style. Is this entertainment? Is this education? Right? How are you solving someone's problem? You could do that auditory. So cool. And here goes the last one, y'all. The last one is, I actually don't know if I'm spelling this right. So, oh well. Here, let's actually. Your content can actually be kinesthetic. What I'm trying to say is it could be something tangible, something that people can hold in their hand, an actual piece of property. So maybe you have a list of affirmations that you say every morning that you swear by, like it helps you, and you believe that it can help other people as well. If you came up with those list of affirmations, it's your intellectual property. You can actually create an affirmation deck and sell it as a product through your Etsy shop or through your Shopify. Y'all, it's so easy to create content. Like, there's multiple ways of doing it. You could create an actual product one time. So for me, I have an Etsy shop. I create shirts for my clients. I create bags. There's all kinds of stuff on my Etsy shop, journals, all that stuff. And I create it once and it sells multiple times. Why? Because it is an income producing asset. I love waking up, and after I do my morning ritual, when I finally look at my phone, I love seeing in the notifications that I made a sale while I'm sleeping. Like, I understand what that means now. Like, I've listened to millionaires make this statement, and now I'm watching it happen for me too. And I'm just like, oh, this is what they mean. This is how it starts. Okay? It starts by actually taking time and effort once. Okay? You need a piece of property that you can create one time that you can sell to many. Instead of selling to one, you want to sell to many. So maybe you crochet, right? That's cool. No problem. If you're crocheting, you are making custom items. That's all good. But can you make one item with your brand on it that you can sell over and over again? Right? Like, this is my staple, and you send out samples or you give it away for free in the beginning, and then know what? You can actually sell them. Those sit on your shop and you also sell them at the same time, right? And they're easy to make. It's quick. You could do a bunch of them in a few hours, right? Or less than. And now you just have that there as your staple and you're ready to go. You need income producing assets. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is that content is your intellectual property. Content is your intellectual property. What you say, the way people see you, how you show up, right? So the way that you look, the way that you write, the way that you sound, right? Your voice and literal product, your tangible product that you make, that you trademark, all of that, right? These are things that is going to be considered your intellectual property. It's yours. You own your content. When you post it and publish it on YouTube, is you own it. When you send out an oratory, you get to sign that. You own it. It's your voice. You can't mistake it for something else or someone else. Okay, sorry, no, I don't got no music. My mom's actually playing Backstreet Boys out in the living room right now, and that's already bugging me out. All right, so I want you to understand that content is your intellectual property. Content is you and your business passive income. You are leaving money on the table every day if you are not at least thinking about what content you're going to produce this week. And so my question to you is, what type of content are you going to produce in this upcoming week? I'm in New York. It's Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow is Sunday. That's the start of my week. Okay? And I'm already thinking about the content that I'm going to deliver to you next Saturday. What type of content are you going to deliver? I actually have my book that I'm publishing, hopefully this week. That's the goal, is to publish by Friday. I got my second ebook, Happy Weight, Forget the Scale, Eat Mindfully, Target Body Fat, and Live a Happy Lifestyle. My second ebook that I'm about to publish, that is my intellectual property and my income producing asset. I'm so excited for myself and for my business, and I'm excited for you too. So do me a favor. Leave down in the comment section, what IP are you creating this week so that you can begin to build passive income, like legitimately passive income, okay, for yourself, for your family, and for your business this week. Okay, if you need more assistance with it, you could create a discovery call. That link is also down in my description box below. Serious inquiries only. All right. Other than that, play this content back a couple times or watch Myron Golden's content. And most definitely, cop this book, y'all. If nothing else, like, for me, this is not about whether we work together or not, to be honest. Everything that you need is in this $30 book. Less than 200-page paperback book that is super simple and easy to read and has so many gems in it. I mean, so easy to read, y'all. And study this joint. Study with me, because I'm telling you, Myron Golden has helped me to 10x my business last year just because of the gems that's in that book. So I already reaped back what I paid for that book. I already got it back several times over. Okay? And that link is down in the description box below. Purchase the Boss Moves books. Let's get it this year, y'all. That's the only way that we're going to win in 2026 without overwhelming ourselves, without burnout, without lying to ourselves, without working multiple jobs. None of those circumstances matter, y'all. That's all outdated and out the window. We're in the digital age. Content is the way, baby. So that's how we got to do it. Again, I'm your coach Shay, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Peace. See you later, y'all. Please, please, please don't forget to share this. Subscribe. And hit the notification bell. See you next week.